Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for your patience. Just kind of had to get a clear eye. So you've received this hard paper copy because Calm Service doesn't have your email address on file. So they sent it as a paper copy.
Mhm.
The amount that whenever you get the amount, that's like this 118, it will all be on your portal, and then you would make the payment through the portal. You wouldn't
Yeah.
have to make it, with this. The reason as to why it is the amount that it is, you're going to have to contact them. You have to call them and contact them so that they can give you an understanding as to why. Same thing you explained to me, you would need to explain that to them because they're the ones that are billing free water. So you would just contact them and then they would be able to explain to you what's going on with it.
Okay, but do you all, as the management company, know if our meters are being read, or are you just all?
They are supposed to read your meters.
Okay.
So again, we're contracted out with them, so they're the ones that come and read the meter. They're the ones that give the prices and that sort of thing. That's just why they're the ones you make the contact about if your bill seems different. Like you said, it's usually $57 and it's in 118, and everyone else is 118. So
Yeah.
that's something you would need to speak to them about.
Okay. Also, well, if this is just the water company, then why is my rent also on this?
Well, they're connected to us. If you had an email, then they would just have your, and as you can see, the rent and everything is not correct. So they're just kind of going off your old information because they have access to your buildings and your billing and that sort of thing like that. Not your payments, but they have the access to that. So that's
Why would the villages give the utility company access to my rental?
No, it's not access. Well, that's not correct as far as your payments, as far as like the actual amount and everything. But to bill you all, we don't give them access to your account. And maybe I'm explaining it wrong. I'll have even Brad explain it better. They don't have access to your account, but this is where you can see your bills as well through them. But they're the ones that strictly deals with the water portion of your bill.
If they strictly deal with the water portion of my bill, then why do they have my rent amount? If that's just a separate entity, that's just the water
Because
entity.
for the water, so your your electric is separate.
Yeah.
But your water is billed with your rent. And that's something that's always been for everyone that lives here. So it's not that they have access. When you move in, we let you know that your water is not included, but it will be billed with your rent.
So, wouldn't the villages want to separate those two things so that the villages didn't have any sort of dealings with improper water bills?
It's always been billed with your rent. The water company, you can call and speak about your water, but the water has always been billed with the rent amount. Your utility is coming from, like if it's Duke Energy or Piedmont Pop, like they have their own billing.
Yeah.
But when you move into the apartment, even for new residents, the water is not included, but it's billed with your rent.
Yeah, but wouldn't the villages want to, say like, hey, we're a separate entity, so you bill them with their water, you do that, we'll do the rent and the leasing and all of that.
That would be in a perfect world, but that's not how it's done.
Okay, well, I know a couple of people, I've talked to several people who have the same water bill, 118, who have been here for years and had a water bill of $40 to $60. And so, some people are saying, hey, I'm gonna go talk to the housing authority, or I'm gonna file with the Attorney General. So it seems like the villages would wanna separate themselves from that possible liability and just say like, yeah, we don't bill your water, but it's all in one thing.
Yeah, the water and your rent is included together.
Yeah, so wouldn't the corporate office want to separate that and say like,
I can't speak about what they would want to do. I can only speak to you about what is happening.
Yeah.
So what is happening is that your water is not included.
right, yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Right. So that I don't understand the question.
Couldn't you speak to somebody higher up than you and say, hey, like, looks like there's a problem here, like our rent and water is together, yet not together. So, which is it? Is it together or is it not together?
As I stated, it's your rent and water is billed together.
Yeah, but wouldn't you wanna speak to somebody, you know?
That's their policy. That's what I'm explaining to you. That has always been their policy. Even the company that I come from, your water and your rent is typically on the same bill. Now, if you have an issue with your water, then you would need to contact the company for the water. That's typically
Well,
standard.
I definitely
across
will
the
do
board.
that.
Yeah.
One more question, are the pools gonna be filled this year?
Yes, ma'am. The small pool will be open this year. They're actually filling it up today. It probably will open. Usually they open like Memorial Day. Yeah. So yeah.
What about the large pool?
The large pool, still working on it. They have not a structure. I think it's a sub issue, like a crack in it or something. But they're working on that to get that estimated to get fixed. I can't be for sure that one will be open by the summer, but we do know the small one will be.
Okay. I mean, I know this is a fairly new management company, but in the 7 years I've been here, the pools have been open 3 years. Now, 2 years they closed for COVID, but other than that, like last year, they just didn't open. They announced a pool party. People came down here, and there was no pool party, and there was no pool. There was no water at all. And so they said, "Hey, Saturday, there's going to be a pool party." Everybody was like, "Yeah, pool party." Came down here. There was no pool party, and there was no water.
Who announced the pool party if there was no?
They sent it out email.
Oh my goodness. No,
Yeah.
we will have the small pool open. That's for sure. They're working on it now. The big pool, I would not hold our breath for that until maybe like towards September time. But that's because we are getting quotes in as we speak for that one. But the small one will definitely be open this summer.
Okay. Well, heads up on that. That's I believe the C building is right next to the small
Yes,
pool.
ma'am.
There's somebody who lives in the C building who just lets their dogs out the door, and there's poop all around the entire pool. So just heads up on that if you're going to open that pool.
Okay.
Somebody needs to put up a sign like pick up your poop or something, because it is a minefield all around that pool up there.
Okay, I'll let the engineer manager know about that today, because again, they are filling it up today, so that is something I will mention
Yeah.
to them.
Okay.
I'm Erica.
I'm Joe. Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you, Ms. Joe, and let me know how that works for you, okay?
Will do. Thank you. I will.
Have a great day.
You too.